A husband who is rarely home and who loves his sister-in-law and niece more than his own daughter. And yet, he has never said such a terrible thing. Until now.
I should stop being the father of an ugly daughter and become the father of my beautiful niece instead.
I'll never forget the look on my daughter's face when she heard those words. I can't take it anymore. I stood up for my precious daughter. My name is Denise, 37 years old, a part-time housewife. I have a husband of the same age, Garrett, and a 10-year-old daughter, Wendy. My husband is an ordinary businessman, and my daughter attends the local public elementary school. We are an ordinary family, I guess. There is one thing that is unusual. The relationship between my husband and his sister. They are very close for siblings of the opposite sex. Even though I have an older brother, I still have a hard time understanding how close they are. I value my family more than my brother, and my brother is of the same opinion. My brother and I see each other at family gatherings, but we never think of meeting alone. Nor do I want to have dinner with him or travel with him. I guess that's just the way it is. My husband and sister-in-law are different. Oh, are you having dinner with Hilda again? Hilda is my husband's younger sister, and my sister-in-law. It was 7 p.m. and I had already finished preparing dinner. Then my husband called me, and I couldn't help but yell at him. Why are you suddenly telling me that you're going out to eat dinner? I've already prepared dinner. He's not sorry on the other end of the phone. I can imagine my husband smiling.
What choice do I have?
You should have told me earlier.
It has to be today in the first place.
What about tomorrow?
Hilda only has time today. She has to take her in to school tomorrow.
That's their business. We have our own reasons, too.
It's not like they're bothering you. If you put the food in the fridge, I'll eat it tomorrow.
Then he hung up the phone. That's enough. I'm sure you housewives can understand my frustration, but this kind of thing really pisses me off. Why can't he just tell me sooner? Why can't they do it another day? I would forgive it if it was just once in a while, or if my sister-in-law had a serious problem, but she doesn't have any problems. They see each other too often, not just occasionally. Even on weekends and holidays. My husband seems to really love his sister, who is 5 years younger than him, and is always happy to answer her requests. This is my imagination, but it seems that my husband gives my sister-in-law an allowance every time he sees her, which is also the reason why my daughter once told my husband, "Daddy, I really need something, so please, give me an allowance." It was rare for her to do that. To which my husband replied,
What? An allowance? Oh, I gave it to Corinne the other day. Oh no, never mind. I don't have money right now, so go ask your mother.
I didn't miss hearing his answer. You've never given Wendy an allowance, but you're giving it to your niece? By the way, my daughter's allowance is currently paid out of my part-time job. My husband only pays for the mortgage and utilities. Other than that, I pay for the food and other expenses. As a matter of course, our family budget is tight every month. When I ask my husband to pay our living expenses,
I'm strapped for money with the mortgage and the utility bills. I need the money for company and other things.
He's very curt about it. Your social life isn't with the company, is it? If you give your sister-in-law and niece allowance and buy stuff for them every time you see them, you'll have to spend money. One day after spending many frustrating days with my husband's attitude, I heard that my sister-in-law had divorced. Some of you may be surprised to know that my sister-in-law is not single. The reason for the divorce was a personality disorder. But as my sister-in-law meets my husband every day, so I can imagine the reasons for the divorce. Still, I hoped that the divorce would make him feel something or change his mind. I was a fool for thinking that.
Now I can see her without hesitation.
My husband said that. And in front of me too. No. You've been seeing each other for years. How are you going to meet with her any more than that? I was wondering about that when, to my surprise, they started to meet each other not only on weekdays but also on holidays. Are you going out with Hilda and Corinne again? You should go out with your own daughter once in a while. But his reply was,
You know, it's so boring to have your daughter with you all the time. Hilda's divorced, and she and Corinne are lonely. I should be there to protect them.
I was really pissed off when he said that. What's so boring about being with your daughter? I know Hilda divorced at her own risk. If she felt lonely, why didn't she make an effort to get closer to her husband? Instead, she was seeing you every day, eating with you, and getting an allowance. So why didn't you just leave her? I couldn't keep my mouth shut either. Do you think Wendy doesn't miss you? Don't you need to protect her? My husband was scared for a moment.
I don't need to protect her because you're so strong-minded.
I'm tired of talking to him. He's not my husband anymore. It's nothing. He's gone. That doesn't mean it's okay with my daughter. Dad, are you with Aunt Corinne again?
Yeah, this time it's a trip.
What? A trip? You mean you're going to leave me and Mom alone and take Auntie instead of us? I couldn't answer that question. It hurts me to see my daughter in tears. Maybe it's not good to leave her alone because it's too much trouble. Running away from talking with my husband is not good for my daughter. I decided to talk to my husband, but he was not home, coming home late every day and eating dinner at his sister's house. I decided to let it go, but my daughter misses eating with her father. When he finally comes home, my husband says he is tired and practically shuts himself in the room. Even on holidays, he is gone in the morning. One day, I was having enough of a headache. It was a holiday and my husband was home in the morning. That's unusual. I told him with a bit of sarcasm that he was home, and he went to lie down on the sofa with the same sarcastic look on his face.
Corinne has an event at school today. Well, we'll have another day off. No, I don't mean it like that, but, well, it's just right.
Today's the day we can have a heart-to-heart talk. So I sit down to face my husband. Listen, I need to talk to you. Don't you think your daughter Wendy is cute?
Huh? What all of a sudden? I think she's cute.
Her husband, momentarily relieved by her words, continues, not reading the atmosphere.
But Corinne is hundreds of times prettier.
I froze when he said that. Corinne is prettier? Somehow I managed to squeeze my voice out. My husband, oblivious to my state of mind, is grinning at the screen of his phone.
Oh man, Corinne is really pretty. She's going to be a middle school student next year, right? Maybe she should apply for modeling or something. She's pretty like Hilda. I bet she'll get in.
My husband showed me his cell phone's screen. It was a picture of the three of them. What is this? You have a picture of you, Hilda, and Corinne on your cell phone instead of a picture of our family?
Of course not, right? Hilda's family too.
Huh?
The other day, one of my colleagues saw this picture. He told me I have such a beautiful wife and daughter. I was so happy I said, "You must be jealous."
I froze again. A colleague at your work? You mean he saw this picture and you told him it was your wife and daughter? I was more shocked that my husband didn't deny that they are not his wife and daughter than I was shocked that the people at work misunderstood completely. Then, what are we?
Honestly speaking, Wendy is not so cute. She's rather ugly from a third person's point of view.
Do you even know what you're saying? My husband's mouth doesn't stop moving, not noticing that my voice is getting lower.
Huh? What are you talking about? I know what I'm talking about. You know, I'm really thinking. I feel so bad that sweet Corinne doesn't have a father.
I'm too dumbfounded to say anything. Just then I heard a bang and looked at the door in a hurry. To my surprise, there stood my daughter Wendy. The pale look on her face told me that she had heard what was said. I panicked and gestured to my husband to shut up, not wanting her to hear anymore. You don't have to talk about it now. We'll talk about it later. But it was too late.
I'll stop being a father to ugly Wendy and become a father to beautiful Corinne.
The air is tense, but my husband is still smiling and staring at his phone. I glare at him, but he doesn't notice. I look fearfully at the door and hear footsteps running away. Wendy! I hurried after her, only to find my daughter lying on the bed in her room, crying. I hate him! I hate Dad! Wendy, calm down. It's okay. It's okay. I hug her tightly and soothe her back gently. I'm angry at myself for saying it's okay. And most of all, I'm angry at my husband. I can't take it anymore. I saw her tears and made up my mind. The next day, I woke up as usual and was preparing breakfast when my husband woke up.
Oh, it's a beautiful day, isn't it?
Yeah. Hilda and the kids don't have any plans today, so I'm gonna go shopping.
Are you ignoring me? Ugh. You're not as pretty as Hilda. Well, that's okay. I don't even want dinner, so I'm gonna go after breakfast.
My husband talks to me, but I just ignore him. I try to keep quiet. So what's that? Where's my breakfast? It's not here. Oh, I answered. But I'm not gonna change my tune.
What? Why not? You can't even do that as my wife.
That's enough.
What?
I said coldly, cutting him off. Your family is beautiful, Hilda, and lovely Corinne, right?
Huh? Yeah.
Then you should be a real family with them. We're not a family anymore.
What? What do you mean?
You're not in this family anymore. I'm divorcing you and I have a lawyer. We'll discuss alimony and child support later. In the meantime, why don't you just pack up and go?
Wait a minute. What are you mad at me for? I was just showing them some love. Are you jealous?
Why would I be jealous? I'm tired of it. And I've given up on you. There's no point in me living with you if you're never home in the first place.
You only work part-time. What about your life?
I've taken care of it so you don't have to worry. I'll be fine. It seems that my husband thinks I'm serious after I said all that. I'm not obligated to tell him, but I've been offered a full-time position by my part-time employer. I was going to do it when my daughter gets in middle school. I'm a little ahead of schedule. My husband is clearly starting to get upset.
You need to calm down a little bit. What are you gonna do without me in the first place? Wendy's gonna miss me.
Don't worry, I won't miss you. It was my daughter who answered my husband's words, not me.
Wendy?
Dad, didn't you say that yesterday? You said you were going to be a father to lovely Corinne. I don't need a father anymore. I'm going to give you to Corinne.
What?
Even my husband is shocked by her words, but he has no right to be shocked. I'm ugly and not pretty. That's why I have to live with my mother. You're just in the way. She gave him a shooting motion with her hand and left.
Wendy, how can you talk like that to your father?
I told you, you're not her father.
What?
He rushes after the daughter. She glared at him angrily and left. Oh, and she hates you completely, doesn't she? Well, I hate you too.
Hey, you! You're the one who made her so insubordinate, in the first place, by not disciplining her. You don't train her at all.
I don't need you to tell me that.
What?
And now he's mad at me again. His face should turn red like a monkey. I have no use for you anymore. My husband is in tears at my pressure. It's time to finish him off. Wendy and I don't need you in our lives.
Denise?
I don't need a man who only cares about his sister and niece and does whatever he wants. Get your stuff and get out now.
Ah!
My husband jumped up and rushed to his room. Then he packed his belongings and left the house as if he was running away. A few days later, I received a phone call from my sister-in-law. I answered the phone thinking that it had been a long time since I had talked to my sister-in-law. Hello, what's going on, sister? My brother says he's not coming home. He's coming to live with us. As soon as I answer the phone, my sister-in-law starts ranting and raving. My brother doesn't do anything even when he's here. He buys me dinner at a restaurant, so that's fine, but he doesn't cook anything in the morning and makes me prepare it. Why should I make my brother's lunch when I'm busy getting my daughter ready for school? He complained when I told him to go to a convenience store. I don't know about that. I really don't know. And he's telling Corinne to call him her father. It's really unbelievable and gross. Wow, did he really say such a thing? It's really like him who can't read the atmosphere. Maybe it's because Corinne is much cuter than his own daughter. But that doesn't mean the world will misunderstand him. I don't know. You've been out a lot with your brother. You've even been on a vacation together. From anyone's point of view, you're like a family. Family? The father, Garrett, and his wife, you, and your daughter, Corinne. And I thought, wow, that's disgusting. And Hilda felt the same way. That's disgusting. You were getting a good deal from my husband. He was ignoring me and Wendy, and you were winning. I hope the three of you can continue to get along. I don't know you. What? Hey! I hung up the phone, ignoring my sister-in-law who was still trying to say something. Sorry I kept you waiting. No problem. Shall we work out a plan for the meeting with your husband? Thank you. I shook hands with a woman sitting in front of me. On her blazer was a shiny lawyer's badge. My husband and I divorced. My husband was insistent at first, but when I told him he can stay with his sister forever, he reluctantly accepted. He really loves his sibling. At first I thought he was a kind brother, but now I just think he's creepy. The divorce went through without a hitch, and he paid alimony and child support in one lump sum. The alimony was not due to an affair, though, so it was a small amount. Still, the lump sum payment, including child support, was quite a lot of money, and what would happen if my ex-husband had no savings? It was obvious to me that my ex-husband, who had no money, would not be able to provide his sister with the same luxuries as he had in the past. He can't afford an allowance, of course. He had become a man who just lounged around the house and got in the way. One day, Hilda called me again, and when I answered the phone, she was very rude. I don't need a man who doesn't have money and doesn't do anything but get in the way. I'll give him back. So I said, no returns are allowed. Please dispose of or repair it yourself at your own risk. I heard from someone that my ex-husband and ex-sister-in-law had a big fight. It was so chaotic that it could be heard outside, and eventually the police were involved. Corinne was so shocked by this that she ran away to her father. Corinne's relationship with her father was not bad to begin with. My sister-in-law, who was also abandoned by her daughter, became more and more bitter with her ex-husband, and she was no longer able to love her brother. My ex-husband also became annoyed with his sister, and they fought constantly. Moreover, because of the police incident, he was not fired from the company, but he was transferred to a far-flung branch office. Naturally, Hilda did not follow. Hilda's husband and daughter abandoned her, and she spent the rest of her life in a shabby apartment. Apparently, my ex-husband is also living a soul-destroying life in the countryside, where there are only elderly people and no entertainment. As for me, I am now living alone with my daughter, but not much has changed. My husband was hardly ever home anyways. I feel very comfortable and stress-free. My daughter and I started doing shopping on the weekends. We also started going on trips. It's fun to go out as a family. Seeing my daughter smiling happily makes me happy too.